Good afternoon, everybody. It is 12:59 p.m., 24th of September, first day of the trade week. Except for cryptos, we never have a rest. We never have a break. And, man, I cannot believe that it is... Well, that did not work where I put that logo. I cannot believe it is already September 24th, man. My wife wanted to put up all of our Halloween decorations this weekend, so that's what we did. Oh, joy. All right. Well, we had quite a bit of activity and movement last week. That is not a shocker. Let's just take a little quick review of that. You can see that we've had 2 weeks of positive movement, but we still did not crack above the beginning of September's high, which was 74.02. That's a bit of a distance still from where we're at. Can we get there? Absolutely. The volume has gotten a little bit bigger. Certainly last week's close, we had more volume than the prior, but beginning of September's volume was higher and the drop was more substantial. So we've got this recovery going on here, possibly, probably. Looking at the oscillators here on the weekly, we're pretty flat in any direction that you want to look. This is about as flat can be. In fact, putting the Bollingers on here, we've entered into squeeze territory really back in June. And that is currently where we're kind of sitting. And we should anticipate a nice a breakout of this very soon. All right. Today, we're going over the Coinbase 5, as I call them. They are the 5 cryptocurrencies that Coinbase has publicly said that they are looking at considering to add to their platform. Doing a little bit more reading and investigating, and it's very probable that some of these will be added before November. That, you know, you get more folks. Coinbase, actually, all these crypto exchanges, they've been on a hiring spree in the midst of a bear market. That should tell you something. Coinbase has hired a whole bunch more people because if you remember last year, if you were one of the people that had some difficulty getting an account opened, like on Coinbase or on Bittrex, it was almost impossible. The only way that they would do it is if you had a what do they call it? Institutional account. So keep your eyes open for that. Now, looking at the current activity and what we've got going on here. So we had a pretty nice drive up from the 17th through the 21st. And we had a pretty good drive up there where, really basically on Friday, we started to see profit taking from Friday through Sunday. And then ultimately between this morning and right now, we are catching a little higher here. We are seeing some price action go back up. We've encountered overbought conditions. This is the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. Encountered positive buying conditions on the composite index, and we are seeing the oversold conditions on the stochastic RSI. Now, this is something of a good thing to see here, is that if we see the buying stepping in on something like the stochastic RSI, which is a more sensitive oscillator, not as sensitive as regular stochastics, but it's still sensitive. If we see it really do a nice drive up from here, and we see responses from sitting in the oversold condition, that's a good pretext for a market that is going to turn bullish. Because, when we've been in an oversold market, we know that any response to, if we go back in the past here, whenever we've had an overbought condition, it has promptly sold off pretty heavily, and that in a overbought condition, we've had a kind of a weak response to that. So what we've got going on here, looking at Bitcoin, is kind of just like looking at an ETF of the entire market. We've got a bull flag going on here. That's all that's really happening, and we could cross above this pretty easily, get across 67.50. That would yield a pretty nice breakout. But anyways, on to the Coinbase 5. That's Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Stellar Lumens, Zcash, and ZRX. There's something funky about those coins because they have been outperforming the broader market at some point over the last week. Cardano certainly has done very well. XLM has done very, very well. And ZRX has done extremely well. It is still doing very, very well. I actually posted an idea on this on ZRX on the 20th. So that was on, excuse me, on Thursday. Posted this idea that, you know, and we talked about this last week too, that we're getting to the center of this cycle here and that prices are near its major swing lows. We're within the 90 to 99 day Gann cycle. Prices have a high probability of reversing at this level, retracing at least 150% of the current value, which is a violent move higher. Hit the play button. There we are sitting right now. We're approaching this zone right here. This is a square of price and time, and this is like an accelerant. This should be a pretty good. You're worried about the low volume? It's the weekend, so the volume is something that is you almost don't want to really take into account very much because either direction it'll most likely be with the trend of sorts. If we can break above this 1x5, that is freaking crazy. Because this is a very, very strong rejection line. I mean, if it blasts through this out, that'll be nuts. So ZEC, or sorry, ZRX doing very, very well. I don't know what the fundamentals are on it. I just know the technicals are pointing in this direction. So pay attention to that. Zcash also doing very well today, oddly. I've had a buy signal waiting up higher up, and I just actually literally took a position not shortly before this popped open. I'm just to prove I'm not talking out of my ass. Oh, they don't give you the time, do they? Yeah, they do. ZEC, I did a buy at ZEC, got in at 1936. That was at 10:35 in the morning. And that was before we had this nice little launch up. Where are we at? 10. That's not right, is it? 19396. 10:35. What? How did I get in at that price? Oh, because I'm looking at the US dollar pair. Anyways, oops. I feel all the coins which are supposed to be added to Coinbase are going up. Yeah, they definitely are, Santosh. Noticing that these are getting a lot of activity behind the scenes and a lot of accumulation. I really encourage everybody to pay attention to Cardano, Basic Attention Token, XLM, ZEC, and ZRX, because they are catching a big amount of drives here, and the volume has been steadily growing in them. Actually, the ones that are kind of lagging behind the whole bunch out of those three, so Cardano's doing very well, ZRX is doing very well, XLM is doing very well. Basic Attention Token has not really caught on to a bigger drive up yet. We can see that if we compare Basic Attention Tokens performance to ZEC, ZRX, Cardano, and all those, it's still lagging here. It's got a pretty nice, I mean, it won't take much to drive this higher. It's still in a somewhat structural bull flag, but Basic Attention Token's certainly not getting the same amount of love as its Coinbase 5 peers. So it's lagging. This one's a good like a get in early before the pump. That's where it's sitting at right now. And then Zcash, just today, it's finally got its little move here, but it still is lagging performance-wise against its Coinbase 5 peers. So, yeah, a lot of these Cardano, basic attention token, ADA, BAT, XLM, ZEC, and ZRX are all getting a nice amount of activity. And some of them have pulled back, like Cardano had a little bit of pullback over the weekend and into today, but it looks like we're catching a little bit of a bid here and maybe moving higher. We'll see what happens if we can cross above that 90 to 91 cents zone. That would be an area to be looking at. XLM. I mean, XLM just like shot up like crazy last week. I mean, it was just like going the same direction as Ripple was. And we'll get to Ripple here in a second, but there's a couple trend lines on this bull flag pattern that need to get broken. The first one looks like we're breaking here. The next one is certainly sitting right here at like 28 to 29. I've got, I don't know if you saw that, I had some buy orders sitting at, I have a stop limit triggered at 28 and another one for Cardano at 0.085. And those are sitting there. What's really nice to see is on the Ichimoku system, if I'm looking at Ethereum for an example, is that on the daily charts, it is finding support at the baseline. So we've held above the baseline on the daily for 4 days, which is nice. We tested lower, but we're still holding above it. On the 4-hour chart, beautiful response. This is textbook support being found on the baseline here. And then on the hourly, really not much to look at. It looks pretty rangy right here. So nice to see a lot of this. Oh, Bitcoin's actually catching a nice little drive. What's this? Coinbase 5. Yeah, I wanna trademark that, Igor. So 6651 is where we're presently at. This has all the marks of a continuation, and I tell you what, if we see this happen on the 4-hour, if we see a break above, if we get back to like 6,700 here, and if we get to like 6,800 within today and Thursday, big deal. And on the daily, if we can close above last week's high, sitting at, or sorry, I just pull up the Bitcoin one. If we can get above the high of 68.23, that's a big deal. I mean, there's really not a lot more I can say about, because that's really showing us then that the price action and the trading behavior of the participants is pointing towards a market moving up in value as opposed to searching for a market for resistance to sell it. There is still plenty of selling going on. But not as much. And in fact, if we look at the Bitcoin shorts right now, Bitcoin shorts are continuing to fall. Oh, nice. Wow. Yeah, square of price and time. Square of price and time really, really acting as a... That is a pretty pretty steep drop. Lots of people covering there. But Ripple actually has some rising interest. It looks pretty weak, though. Taking a peek at Ripple real fast. It has found quite a bit of support inside of its arc. And probably, I mean, I thought we might get a little selling pressure back down to this 45, maybe to test the 45 line here, but that did not play out, which is fine. We'll see if that is an area that we would expect to see a little bit lower of a move, but I mean, this is just showing some nice support here. We could see another breakdown, but man, it's holding pretty nicely in here. There's a clear urge to keep it here. And it's not going to take a lot to break this up higher. What's amazing, Santosh? There's a bit of a delay on the stream, so I'll wait. The Ripple move, I really would love to see it not just break above that 54.80. Yeah, the shorts chart it's pretty bloody. Get back above the arc here. We should see a nice little move higher. You know, because we had this. I mean, it'd be weird for it to really sell off here. That would. I think there's a lot of folks who missed the move. Well, I don't think. I know. We know that there's a lot of folks who missed the move, and now see it sitting around here. There's going to be more people coming in. I forgot what exchange it was. Reported that the volume of new money has increased substantially over the last 30 days, so that was very good news. Take a look at EOS. EOS is in a pretty nice area. This looks very similar to what ZRX looks like. It's staying around its 45, so it's staying within a price equilibrium. So it's it's in time and price, it's very equal. This one too won't take a lot to trade higher. Walton Chain. We might finally be getting, as soon as we get to this line right here, to this time pivot, we could probably see a nice response higher. But as far as an instrument that is really lagging everything else and could be a really nice long opportunity, this is what I'm looking at. Because if you remember, prior to our big dump over here in the beginning of September, Nano and Walton Chain were already really underperforming everybody, so they were the real big performers of this drive up here, and currently now they are really lagging everybody else. And they're really underperforming the entire market. So Walton Chain in general has really crapped it out everywhere. If we go to the crypto screener, we'll do that later. It would show a pretty weak performance on every time frame: yearly, 6 month, 3 month, weekly, and daily. Nano might be catching a little bit of a bid here. I mean, there's this trend line right here is the one I'm looking for it to break across first. I really want to see price break above, get back up to like the 39.39, or at least to the 4,000 satoshis. I freaking hate that word for that, though. By the way, I never use the word satoshi because I just think it's dumb. I don't know why. I'm used to things in ticks, pips, or points, and satoshis. I know that's like a thing, but I don't know. God, that means I'm like old. Kids get off my lawn, and kids don't change my nomenclature. So Nano could be a really nice entry above there, though, but I'm not willing to let some capital rest in here. I actually exited my Nano that I was sitting in, took it for a little loss because it was just kind of meh, not doing much. Nano, we did Nano. XLM, Stellar. Again, looking for that breakout higher there. Cadano we did. Ethereum Classic, really not much to write about here. It's a good zone to look. There's quite a bit of volume right there on that 4-hour chart. It's a nice zone we're sitting in. The breakout area is very, I mean, we really don't even have to do anything except price action trade and look at this to see, we're really looking above the, probably like 12.15. Nice entry zone there. We'll see. But gosh, ZRX still moving. Holy cow, it did bust above that. I have no idea what is behind the move other than this is a square of price and time, and Gann said when price and time are squared, trends do change and things happen. So, this is really the only catalyst that we really needed to be aware of, and we were made aware of it, beginning of the month or midpoint of the month, really. Is there? Yeah, I can take a look at that. ICX, definitely. Just wanted to see, is there any news thing that is causing some traders to step into ZRX? Goldman Sachs based Circle adds EOS, Stellar, OX, and QTUM. Did QTUM catch a bid too? I bet it did. No, it's actually not responding much at all. Will ZRX be listed on Coinbase? I'm not really seeing any thing popping up on Google feed saying why that's going up, but maybe it's us. Doubt it. So ZRX, this was one we talked about last week too, or a couple of weeks ago, about how it was lagging Cardano, and everything was lagging Cardano. Cardano kind of like led the pack out of that Coinbase 5. There's QTUM, when things were getting listed on different exchanges like last year, there used to be a huge response. Things would get a lot of pump on that news, but Goldman Sachs backed Circle backed by Goldman Sachs. They should have wrote that differently. Circle backed by Goldman Sachs adds EOS, Stellar, OX, and QTUM. So again, clear, strong buying volume in here, and these are really nice closes that we're getting. I mean, they're long wicks, but that's been retraced. When you get a large wick like this or shadow, and then if we do close above it, that's a really good sign. Let's look at ICX though. I know I've seen that one get popped around. You want the Bitcoin pair or the dollar pair? Icon, that's a stock too. I think they own like Fubu and something else. I think they funded the Peanuts movie too. The Peanuts movie, the Snoopy, Charlie Brown. Gosh, that is nuts. It's still moving up there. US dollar pair? Okay. Let's look at the dollar pair. Well, it's showing a little bit of a bounce or two. This is kind of a similar chart setup that we're seeing all over. Clearly, I did something here before. But we can square this out real quick. This won't take very long. Can you hear the music okay? I have some music playing in the background now because, I don't know, when I'm doing things like this, I don't have to talk the whole time. There's something else in the background than me mumbling. All right. Let's go to 96 bars. That's all the farther we need to go. And 1, 2, 3 bars. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I was almost right on. All right. Thanks, Santosh. Yeah, I think it is a nice touch too. So do my other two business partners that help me with all this. Thankfully, I just like to do trading and analyst stuff, and I'm not too keen on the whole managing the rest of it. They do that. they're experts in that area. I'm in this area. Okay, so the low that we have here, what's the all-time high is 1264.41. 1264.41, right? 12, no, sorry, high. No, 131976. 131976. 13. Okay. And then our low is actually pretty recent. The low here is at 49. Let's say 492. Okay, now I just need to plot a few horizontal lines and then we'll be good to go. Oops. I don't think we'll get up that high, but we'll see. First point is 0.44. Next is times is 2.076. Definitely not getting that far. And we have 2.669 and 5.268. Oh hell, why not just get the rest of those in there? I'm going to end up doing it anyways. Might as well do it right now. It won't take very long. I think I'll spend about 5 minutes doing this total. Faster and faster at this. And, oops, that's okay. And let's see, the strength test is 116.32. Oh, wait, that's not right. We've got midpoint 6.8454. 854, sorry. Wait. Oh, looking at the wrong number. And the mid is, okay. Well, ICX, when it's sitting right there at that low, that is a pretty easy looking buy. I mean, there's not a lot of risk. I mean, granted, could it go lower? Sure, but when you look at the broader market itself, there's really nothing indicating that this should move lower. I mean, there's something's right near that all-time low. It's kind of a, I actually might pick a little bit of that up. 0.484. Oh, and I also want to make sure that this square is actually pretty accurate or not. 3.669. Oops. Bring it down to the 4 hour. In the arc, finding support. I'd enter in my long above the arc, if we can get back above it, that's where I would be looking at a long entry. Probably at a break of, definitely if we had a trend line drawn here on the 4 hour. That looks okay. Yeah, that would mean we're above price, above the cloud, lagging spans above price in the cloud. We're getting stopped out at the conversion line here on the 4 hour, but definitely a break above this most recent swing high at 72.53. So entry at 73.63 should be a nice catch on a breakout there. I'm actually going to put that in here right now. Well, convert it to the Bitcoin. That's something we can just eyeball. So 1095. Oops. Make sure I got that right. Okay, there we go. That's in the Telegram channel too now as well. That's good. Double check it here on the square. Yeah, busting out of the arc. I mean, really, we're going to have a pretty good chance of hitting that, breaking the arc here, but ultimately want to get to a spot where we have kind of clear space in front of us. Definitely a break above the 73, well, looking at the dollar pair conversion, that's 73.63. Getting a close above here means the lagging span is going to be in that kind of condition too. And really, as soon as the lagging span gets above this high, it's got, then we've really got pretty much a clear, open space to trade in. The 1 day chart. Yeah, this is a lot of resistance right up here. It's a thick cloud. Now again, when we were going over a couple weeks ago, we were talking about some of the 5 strategies that Manesh Patel in his book on the Ichimoku system, he pointed out that a thick cloud generally forms right before you start to change a trend. All right, so we do have a thick cloud here. It's still, the cloud ahead is still red, but if we can break above this entire zone here on the daily, that's a pretty strong sign. The fact that we've actually crossed the first kind of signal that we've got some strength here is that price crossed above the conversion line, and it's tested it on Friday or Saturday rather, got bought back up. Yesterday it stayed above it the whole time. Today, during the day's trade, it tested it, got bought back up. That's a good sign. Not surprising it's ranging in between both of these because we've got a support and then a heavy resistance. This resistance is the tough one. It's got the bottom of the cloud. Got to turn those. Ooh, you know what? No wonder. Sorry. The bottom of the cloud here, it's a thick cloud, so this is going to be very tough to get above, but then the baseline itself is flat. Anything that's like flat in the Ichimoku system, so unless the cloud is really thin, if you have flat zones on a thick cloud, very tough to cross above. In fact, you look back on any chart, any market, equities, futures, forex, cryptos, if you see a thick cloud and an area where it's flat above or below, you're going to see wicks stop pretty frequently right on that, like never even crossing them. So, but the baseline when it's flat, this is telling us that we've pretty much bottomed, that there is no, on the longer term, it doesn't look like we're showing any momentum to trade down anymore. We've started to inch up and point up here, but ultimately, price closing above the the bottom of the cloud and the baseline, that would be a very, very nice signal. It'd be pretty awesome to see that happen. So it's not surprising that we're kind of stuck in this zone here. Pretty normal. I mean, on a, what are we at? Bitcoin daily. Yeah, Bitcoin. That's right. Daily chart of Bitcoin's got that same kind of issue going on here, where we're facing some pressure up against the bottom of the cloud and the top of this baseline. When price finally does close above the baseline, I mean, we're talking about the 6,800 area. That's going to be a big deal. But look at this flat here, just really, really flat trade. Okay. Have we traded 3 days down? We have. But that's been from Friday to Sunday. But there's been a lot of buying here. We're not seeing this stuff happen. We're seeing this happen. So there's not a lot of activity there either. I feel like I have a cold coming. On the hourly, we're staying, but we started to trade down, got up to 650. All right. Ethereum, what are you doing? Ethereum just hanging out in this entire area. Not a lot of movement. But yeah, still like this. This is very nice to see this nice bouncing here. Shorts continuing to sell there. ZRX, what did you do? Peeling off a little bit, coming back down to the high of the last 4-hour period. But man, there's still a lot of oomph there. A lot of breakout. The daily, if we want to get higher here on the daily in ZRX, I mean, the fact that we're getting a cross here, a TK cross, that's generally pretty bullish. We're going to probably close above the baseline for the second day in a row. That's pretty bullish. The only thing that makes it look like we could get some resistance is, you remember that the lagging span will respond to support and resistance areas just like price does. So the lagging span may find some resistance up against the conversion line, price, and the baseline. So we'll want to watch out for that. Ripple. See if Ripple's going to catch any bit of a bid. I mean, so Ripple's finding some support. The conversion. This is a hell of a cloud. Not a cloud. This is a hell of price action. Jeez, look at that. Was nuts. Almost to 80 cents. From 24 cents to 80 cents in 1, 2, 3, 4 days. That's crazy. 4-hour chart. Not looking the best, but not looking the worst either. Pretty much reflecting the flatness of the trade there. 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour's below the cloud. There may be some further breakdown here. If this, I mean, this looks like a bear flag or a bear pennant forming here. I mean, if it gets down to like 50.93, I would expect it to go have a bit of a drop there. We'll see. What are the shorts doing? They might be. See, they've got the inverse here. They've got a bull flag here on the hourly. We'll have to see. Zcash. See at 140. That's quite the distribution range here. Still closing in the green though on the hourly. 4 hour. It's quite the top. All right, let's look at some of these others. Let me pull up the cloud chart. Okay, I want to take a peek at DigixDAO. See what we've got going on here. Daily close above the finding support on the conversion line. That's good. The 1 hour looks a little like it might be all right. 4 hour. I want to see it come back above the conversion line. Not much to see there. Populous. Laggard. Big laggard. I mean, just continuing to move down, laggard. but we're probably getting a little bit of a bottom here. So I like the risk reward here is pretty nice. There's not a lot of risk in here. I mean, there's just not. There's just really not. It's pretty down as far as what's been happening to it. It's I don't know what else you want to say about it. It's just not a lot of risk here for the reward that you can get out of it. I mean, I'm pleased with that 47.33 where it's sitting at right now. $47.33. But if we wanted to, we could wait until you get up to a condition where the lagging span is above cloud and the price is above the cloud. You could do 49.45 actually. $49.45. I like that one. BQX, I tried. Oh damn it! I tried getting some trades in on this one over the weekend because it's way down too. And this is like a wallet. I mean I don't even know why this thing is a thing, but and we've also got some pretty easy entry zones here. In fact, I think I'm looking at the. What was I looking at the 4 hour this morning? We were looking at 51.76. Yeah, it's a little below. That's a little above the hourly, and we'd be above the 517. I don't want to do it on the hourly. Do it on the 4 hour, and on the daily. Yeah. Okay, this BQX, again, have no idea really. I'm just looking at the charts. This one's underperforming the rest of the market in its direction and its movements. If we can get it to close above the daily chart in the top left, we can get it to close above the conversion line. That'd be great. So at 51.61, that'd be... I want to be above. So actually, I'm just going to say 52 there. That'd be easier. BQX BTC long at 0.12345 2. Is above daily conversion line. Price and lagging span. Cloud. All right, so that entry at 52 at 5,200 Satoshis. Freaking hate that. Then the reason for that is that would bring us above the cloud and the lagging span on the 4 hour, and also would bring us at a close above the conversion line on the daily, which has not happened in, well, since then, but prior to that, we'd have to go all the way back to the 4th of July. So BQX, WTC, I think, gosh, this is getting beat down hard. There is nothing that looks pretty about about this chart. Look at how it just ran the cloud all the way down. But this is good to see that when it finally did, when the lagging span got below the conversion to base and price, and then when price was below the cloud, there wasn't like a huge sell-off. So this is pretty weak move on the bearish side. You know, the hourly, we're probably looking at the breakout on the hourly. where this is a really thin cloud, which means it's, I mean, once it does move, it'll be pretty easy. But 4690 is the very easy. 4690 bring us where? Bring us. Hold that thought. Conversion lines at 4950. But we'd be above the 4. Yeah, 4690. Yeah. Be 1 hour above cloud and lagging span, and 4 hour close above conversion, or sorry, base. Lisk. Oh my god, I had Lisk on for like a scalp this weekend because it was. I mean, I took a trade on it just because it looks like this, and I took it for a loss, and then literally like 2 hours later, shot up. Ugh, frustrating. So on the daily. Hourly, you know what? Ignore that one. Or sorry. Maybe if I looked at the right hourly. Would like to see lagging span above price too. But then that'd be inside the hitting resistance against the 4 hour cloud. Yeah, no, not a trade there. Waves caught a bid too. It's actually had some bullish news come out. Waves is actually a great blockchain network. I mean, it's crazy fast. It's just, you know, one big fish amongst other big and little fish. Waves, the 1 hour chart. New 4 hour, new daily. Daily, maybe. Yeah, daily, if we can close above the base here. 36.71. I might as well just let it rest there. IOTA. Okay, so IOTA is one that could catch the Weiss ratings. I don't know if you guys pay attention to Weiss ratings or if you've subscribed to it, but IOTA is in the Weiss ratings as one too. Weiss ratings, I mean, they have really good picks, shockingly. I mean, they're a good group. But IOTA's a one that they have on their a list that could perform 90% better than what it is currently. I mean, that goes for a lot of things. 4 hour chart on IOTA. If we did 59.14. Where's 59.14 at here? Well, that's still okay. 59.14 is. Nope, don't like it. EOS. Also in the Weiss ratings. Now, this is nice that it's finding support on the base, on the daily, the 4 hour, struggling to get back above the base. We're looking pretty weak there, actually. We could see a drop. See what everything else is. What's Bitcoin doing right now? Well, Bitcoin. This is a pretty, pretty flat hourly. Holy cow. Not a lot going on there. Yeah, let's check out Bitcoin. What are you doing here? Hourly doesn't look the best. The daily doesn't look the best, but the 4-hour actually looks okay still. I mean, nice to see support here on the baseline on the 4-hour. This is really nice to see. That'll be a good. I mean, if we hold off for another 10 minutes and we can close above the prior high, that's a good sign too. The volume's not bad. It is lower than the prior two, but it's still. I mean, that's pretty good volume for the time of day. Not really that freaked out about that. Ethereum. Dailies looking pretty nice there still. Yeah, looks okay. Hourlies could do pretty nice. You know, Mondays, like everywhere, like in Forex and futures. I mean, the futures market's facing a little pressure because, except for the NASDAQ, tech, China trade stuff's really putting a lot of pressure on things. But I'm not really seeing anything else that's really overly worrisome right away. Nano on the daily. I stopped coughing in the mic, guys. I'm sorry. 4-hour. That's pretty nice. Crawling back up there on the 4-hour. That's pretty good sign. We'll see if it can stay there. 1 hour. Not seeing a lot of responsive selling on the 1 hour. That's pretty good. I mean, because generally, you know, given how prices responded in the past on any kind of bullish correction, things have sold off pretty strongly, but we're not observing that right now. Nano on the daily is a great entry if we can get. Oh God, no, that's too. 4-hour. No, there's better things out there. Ripple. Take a quick look at Ripple again. Now Ripple on the hourly looks ugly, but man, we're just trading it. We've got an inside bar forming on the hourly and on the 4-hour. We have 2 inside bars forming on the 4-hour. One inside bar on the hourly. So Ripple just trading it on an outside bar, on an inside bar, is taking a long at, you know, a close above here, or just, you know, if we get a close above the outer stick here at, what is the high there? 53.63. But might as well just look at it above the base. 60 is a resistance zone. I mean, it's, you know, you hate to miss out on all that price action in between from 54 to 61, but which one is safer? Damn. Where do I think the money is going? Well, there's definite looks at, well, those Coinbase ones that we're looking at today, Cardano Basic Attention Token, XLM, ZEC, and ZRX. Those are very obvious ones that I mean, they make sense why money would be going into them. Weed stocks. Those got hammered, man. Those got hammered over the last week. That TLRY shot up, went back down. I love. They're like, oh, look at that crazy movement. It's like, yeah, come take a look at cryptocurrencies, man. Those things, 20% in a day. It's like a normal big move. Let's see, really not seeing a whole lot of other stuff here. We'll see what happens at the close here in about 6 minutes. Let's see how things react. ZECs, this gets peeling off some of its action here. Got all the way up to 149 at 150 and then sold all the way back down. I think this selling pressure actually, this has just happened like within the last little bit here. Yeah. From the last yeah. Low volume trading on the 5-minute chart, pulling price down. But there's, on the hourly, there's definitely a case for a re-entry at a return to this base and conversion line here. That's at 136.20. Oof. That is a 4-hour bar. It's like everybody who bought at 138 also sold at 138. With a few people holding on. This is kind of funny looking. Pull that back out and back in. Make sure it's set. It did. Okay. Yeah, if we're looking at this like it's riding the arcs, crossed above this 45, that's pretty bullish. I mean, it'll, we'll probably observe it pull back to the arc and continue this ride up. That's how it's been acting. I mean, don't see any reason why it would deviate from that. That's a lot of volume. That's one of the highest volume 4-hour bars it's the highest 4-hour volume bar that we've had since all the way back here. This is back in May. And that is the second highest 4-hour volume bar since, well, man, that's actually a pretty massive, that's either the 5th or 6th highest volume bar in this entire chart here. And it forms near a bottom. Let's look at the daily chart. That's pretty. One thing I like to see here is this volume. Lots of buying pressure, not a lot of selling pressure. And the buyers are beating off the sellers. Where's Ripple? Let's see. Ripple shorts are still pouring in. ZRX still, man, I tell you, that is impressive. ZRX is still hanging out around that angle. That's crazy. Ethereum, not much move there. Cadano. What do I think about ETN pumping for days? ETN. Oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. Well, that's some interesting news, but not really. That's what I thought you meant, Electronium. I had to Google search it. I don't really know. Amid the mobile remittance app beta launch, I mean, here's the thing, like, I really hate a lot of news space stuff because there's a price move that happens and I'll tell you something that really irritates me ever since I became a Gannist, where we trade based off of cycles and geometry as opposed to news, is that news is an excuse. News is often, like, trends don't change because of news. I mean, if any of you have been with us in the Forex Lens channel for about a year now, or we've been going over this kind of stuff, we see and observe and participate in trend changes based on time and price cycle analysis, and really based on time, and then price action moves, and then you start to see these rear view mirror backwards looking experts who put out these news articles, and I'm pretty sure they themselves have to Google a reason to make up for a move. But it's just ridiculous. Electronium, I don't know a lot about it other than I knew it had that remittance app coming out, but it has a lot of competition in XLM. And it's like things like Ripple, XLM, and ETN, they have all been catching quite a bit of a drive because they're involved with settling international payments and conversions and payment conversions in a very, very fast manner. And I think Electronium is traded on, let's see what markets is it traded on. Yeah, it's only traded on Cryptopia, KuCoin, BitBNS. Yeah, that's it. It's not on Bittrex or Binance, Bitstamp. Which doesn't mean that it's bad. Ooh, Ripple looking a little weak here on the hourly. We could see a breakdown there. Little bear flagging happening here. We'll see how the rest of the market reacts to that. But anyways, it is 2:01. That is the time. Oh, by the way, this is the normal time of day during the week when you start to see things either drive up or drive down. So pay attention to those, to your positions, because this is after the lunch hours when things like to take advantage of low liquidity and lower participation. It's easy to move these markets this time of day. So anyways, I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I know we had a great week last week. I hope you guys have had a good Monday so far. Again, today's Monday. It's kind of a blah day. Generally on Tuesday and Wednesdays when we start to see some real movement in pretty much all the markets, but we'll definitely have some things to talk about tomorrow, I would expect. So in my opinion, this is until something were to confirm a continuation of the bear market, and that would involve Bitcoin closing, having a weekly close below 6,400 and something. Right now, I believe this is a buy the dip kind of situation that we're in, which is always a little shaky to do right at the beginning of the transition of a bull move. But, you get into things early. That's where you make the most of the gains before the rest of the sheep jump on board. So, let's see. I feel the same way. I think they look at the charts and read the news. Cryptopia. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. I'll use TradingView chat as an example. Like something will move, and when Zcash moved, I took a trade on Zcash based solely on the fact that it was lagging and that it's a Coinbase pair and that it was underperforming the Coinbase 5 and the time cycles matched up as well. So take the trade, and then when it caught a bid and everybody else seemed to be pumping into it at the same time, chat just blows up with like Zcash is making a move. It's moving because. Or people ask, why is it moving? God, that is the thing that I think hurts more traders than not, is when they try to find a reason for something moving instead of just looking at it and trading it. Because I guarantee you, if you wait for the news for something to happen, then you are late already. So technicals and Gann analysis especially Gann analysis, is about viewing the market as a fixed pattern that man cannot change or deviate. The patterns in a market are as natural in its cycles as night and day on Earth, and that is the way that I look at it. And I tell you what, it makes it a whole lot less stressful. It's like, I gotta wait for some news on Ripple before I take a trade on Ripple. Well, congratulations, you just probably bought at the top of the market then, dude. Anyways, that is it for me. I am off, and Forex Lens, folks, I will speak with you tomorrow morning. And the rest of you, I will see you tomorrow afternoon. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a nice positive comment or something. So that'd be great. Have a good day. Bye-bye.